Welcome back, warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. Oh my gosh, everything just really, really blew up. I was gone for a day celebrating Feast of Tabernacles. I come back to Kamala Black Face. OMG, guys. Oh my gosh. This has exploded all over the internet. You know, every now and then I have to take a break. So I couldn't jump on this right away, but I have got to respond to this. We're talking about, well, you know, I've been responding to Candace Owens' videos about Kamala's family history. Something's not adding up. There's this grandma Beryl, who's this Black woman that Kamala's taking a picture with when she's supposedly 20 years old, or in her 20s rather. And, you know, Candace Owens is good at picking up little cues like body language and little subtle cues, like something's off here. Something is really, really off. This doesn't look like a grandma picture with a grandchild, you know, because usually you're cozy, you're all up in each other's face, you're holding each other, your heads are touching, something's happening, right? But in that picture, and this is the picture, you know, their heads are kind of away from each other. There's no arm holding or arm around the shoulder or hugging. It's just cold and distant. And, you know, Candace Owens assumes that this woman must have been the help, because she just borrowed a Black body to be her grandma Beryl. And I'm disgusted by this whole thing. This has just ended her campaign. Kamala Harris's campaign is over. I don't care what anybody says. They're going to bring out Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, all the Obamas, any Obama you can find. It's over because she depended on being Black to get the Black vote. Black men were already not thinking about that. They already were, half of them, about gone off the Democrat plantation. Now she's clinging to what she can find, bringing out Obama to scold Black men. You should be ashamed of yourselves. She's Black like you. She went to a Black college like you. Didn't work, got a backlash. So now we're going to look at this clip, and I'm going to, you know, respond to this video of a Lady C who is hosting a show and talking to a woman named Dorothy. Dorothy knew the real Grandma Beryl. She knew them growing up. She knew the family, and she's going to talk about this. So these, you know, they reached out to Candace, and Candace, they have a video right here.
It's from Castle Goring, from Nikki, Aurora, and from me. We have a special guest with us today, Dorothy Otti, who is an old friend of mine. She's Jamaican, and she used to know Miss Beryl very well. They grew up in the same village?
Well, I grew up in the village where Miss Beryl lived. She was a lot older than me, of course. And Miss Beryl is the grandmother of Vice President Kamala Harris.
Yes.
And she was just the most delightful lady. I have such fond memories of her. Excuse me. So there's a sweet that you have in Jamaica as a child, or grown-ups eat the sweet that's made from coconuts and caramelized sugar, and it's called a buster. Have you ever had?
Darling, in my day it was called Bustamante Gappo.
Okay, so it was called a buster. And Miss Beryl had a shop. And in the mornings, my Uncle Cecil would take me by the hand. We'd go up the road for a walk. And on the way, everyone that goes past, it would be, "Good morning, Miss Cecil. And how are you, Miss Dar?" And by the time we got to Miss Beryl's shop, she would either offer me a buster or this other delicious sweet called a paradise plum.
Yes, I remember paradise.
Yeah, but Miss Beryl, she was just so lovely. We would have these conversations as a little girl whenever I went past with Uncle Cecil, and it was always, "How are you doing with your books? Are you reading? Are you learning your times table?" Of course, she was a businesswoman, so she was very good at things like mathematics, of course. And she was, looking back now, you could see she was a trailblazer. Because the shop that she had, she actually built it herself. So we lived in a village, and her shop was the only what you would call an upstairs, downstairs house.
Mm-hmm.
All the other houses were like bungalows on one level with gardens and stuff. I remember in our garden, we had gladiolas.
So that was very intricate detailing right there. You know, she was talking about the desserts, the busta, the paradise plums. She was talking about the gardens, the way it was 2-level store, and everyone else had like these bungalows, the gardens. She was talking very intricate details that only someone who was actually authentically a friend of the family would know, or someone who just really knew the family. So she was very intricate in details. That's what I noticed. That's what stood out. And Candace is going to talk about how the woman knew mathematics and she's supposed to be a Black person. But, you know, this is pretty much only a few decades after, you know, slavery was over with. And just being honest, a lot of Black people were not well read around that time because we were forbidden from knowing how to read and being properly educated. You know, we were forbidden. So a few decades out from that would make it sort of difficult for someone to be good at math. They owned a store, they made a lot of money, you know, not your typical Black story. Not that you know, there's still people like that own Black Wall Street. So let's not forget about that. And Madam C.J. Walker, you still have people that no matter where we are in history, they're trailblazers regardless. They're just brilliant like that. So let me just point that out. But this is not the picture that Kamala put in her book. That woman did not look rich. She looked like a, you know, because well-to-do people present themselves a certain way. And she did not present, you know, well-to-do. Of course she's not, because Kamala wanted you to think that she came from a poor Black grandmother. That's what she wanted us to think. She wanted us to think that. So it gets really, really good. This is a bomb. Oh my gosh. Ended Kamala Harris's campaign. Let's watch more.
Again, this would not have been more than a couple of decades removed from slavery. And she was really good at mathematics, extremely well read, owned and operated a shop, and had the biggest house. What are we talking about? This doesn't feel like the correct kind of a Black story that I'm used to. A couple of generations ago, you go back, most Black people have my grandparents' sharecropping farm. I mean, maybe, you know, but who knows? I'm like, okay, very clearly, though, we know she's telling the truth right away, because this is a good fact check against what Donald Harris wrote when he wrote a story about their Jamaican heritage for Jamaican Online Global. And he talked about those bustas. He talked about him and his sister Enid and how they loved the bustas. I think he said it was around Easter time. So everything she's saying sounds correct. But it was this part, this next part, that instantly let me know that this woman was the real deal, because she presents a detail, something that I know to be a fact that I had not ever presented to the public. Remember when I told you that I got on the phone with a family member of Kamala Harris, and that family member told me that Donald Harris had 2 siblings, Enid Harris, who I have spoken to you guys about, and another sibling who I had never mentioned. It was Beryl's son, and his name was Kenneth. And this woman starts speaking about the Kenneth that I had never mentioned, who would be Donald Harris's brother. Take a listen.
Was it a village or was it a hamlet? How many people would have been in it? How many houses? How many residents?
So at one time, everyone that lived there, was a village. There was probably about 80 or 90 people. But at one time, everyone that lived there was a relative of mine.
Really?
Yes.
What about Miss Beryl?
So this would have been before people such as Miss Beryl moved there. But before that, everyone who lived there, and even as a child growing up, most of the residents were connected in some way on my mother's father's side, my grandfather's side, where they, you know, they were all related. But Miss Beryl, my darling, also had a son. He was called Kenneth. And Kenneth had a motorbike, the equivalent of what we would now call a Harley Davidson. And of course, So at the time, I would have been no more than 4 or 5. I'm not interested in what make your bike is. And he would put me on the front of the bike, whenever I came past with Uncle Cecil, and I would sit there and he would switch the engine on. And of course, looking back now, I realize the bike never moved, but he just held on to me, and I thought I was riding a bike, and I grew up absolutely loving motorbikes. He was very handsome.
So, Miss Beryl, all right, we just got to look at the details. She had money. And the Kenneth was someone that Candace Owens had never mentioned. But this woman, Dorothy, mentions Kenneth. So this authenticates her story. This makes her very credible. We can believe her. She's giving the details. This woman had a 2-level store. Everyone else had a bungalow. So she had means. Clearly she has money. And the details about the desserts, the candies and goodies that were given out, the motorbike, the Kenneth that Candace never mentioned. This is unreal. And it gets better. We're talking Kamala Black Face, right? Kamala blackifying herself. This is all over social media. She's going to have to answer for this because Candace is not going to let up. I'm not going to let up. I'm just going to keep responding to the videos. You guys, this is amazing.
And Mrs. Beryl, by the way, I see Vice President Harris on the box. I sit up straight and I think, my God, she looks so much like Miss Beryl. Her facial features, the only thing is Miss Beryl was much smaller in stature. But
well, okay, if Miss Beryl, because Kamala is very fair-skinned.
Right.
Was Beryl fair-skinned?
Yes, she was.
She was?
She was. She was fair-skinned.
She was? Okay.
Yes, she was very fair-skinned.
Oh.
With black hair.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So she was so fair-skinned that now that I'm older and I can spot people by their skin coloring, etc., for me, I would say there was something Irish there.
How interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say somewhere along the line, she would have had ancestors that were Irish. Yes.
Actually, can I show you a photograph?
Of course.
Of an old lady.
Yes. And
some people speculate that this is Miss Beryl.
Right.
So, sorry, Beryl.
Look, Candace is look at Candace's face. She's showing the picture that Kamala put in her book of the darker skinned Beryl, who she said was her grandmother. But this woman is saying, no, she was fair skinned with black hair and she knows facial features. And she would say that there's something Irish there. And remember, Donald J. Harris said that he's not black. He doesn't identify as black. He identified as Irish Hindu. And look at that picture. Candace holding up the picture.
Okay.
I am so on technological. It's just pathetic.
Yeah.
The one that Kamala put in her book. This is the darker skinned Beryl that she's showing her a picture of right now.
Okay. Nah, that's not Miss Beryl.
That's not Miss Beryl.
That's definitely not Miss Beryl.
Okay.
That's not Miss Beryl.
So
and
that means you have to just show.
Yeah.
So
you can't.
That is not Miss Beryl.
That's not Miss Beryl.
Definitely not Miss Beryl.
Okay.
And I know what she looks like. I couldn't have been in a dream, and she definitely did not look like that.
There's another person, but could that be Miss Beryl?
No, that's not Miss Beryl. That's not Miss Beryl either.
Okay.
Don't know who that is.
Okay.
That's not Miss Beryl. That ain't Miss Beryl. You know, as you were describing the fair skin and looking like Kamala, I was thinking this can't be the Miss Beryl grandma that's in Kamala's book. And clearly you see Lady C's going, wait, fair skin? What is it? Maybe is this? Nope, that's not Miss Beryl. I didn't dream. That's not Miss Beryl. Yeah, that sounds about right. You're saying Irish. And that's funny because Judge Joe Brown had a very distinct memory that Donald Harris told him that he was Irish and Hindu. And things are starting to add up, not in Kamala Harris's favor.
Whoa. Guys, this is huge. Okay, this just busts everything wide open. Now, Kamala Harris, girl, you are going to have to answer for this. You are going to have to answer for this. And Judge Joe Brown, he had a memory of Kamala Harris's father.
But, I met her daddy, a fine gentleman, Professor Harris. And the problem with her being black is Professor Harris says he's Caucasian, mixed Irish and Hindu. He doesn't have any black ancestors, but his Irish ancestors owned a lot of slaves in Jamaica and had them to work on plantation. So if mama is on the birth certificate listed as a Caucasian, daddy says he's a Caucasian Hindu and has no black ancestors, how did she get to be black?
So he didn't identify as black, but Irish Hindu. So this means that Kamala Harris, girl, you mean to tell me you are not black? You are not black. As you claim, that was not your grandmother in your book. Your book is called The Truths We Hold. It should be called The Lies I Told. That's what it should be called. You're walking around blackifying yourself. This is the most insidious form of blackface. This woman, I'm going to just go ahead and tell you some of the things Candace Owens said. She's soulless. Candace is saying that Kamala Harris is soulless. Okay? And she can lie just like that. She can lie looking you straight in the face with no remorse, no inkling of I shouldn't do this. Her morals are at the bottom. I mean, and you have black people, black Christians walk around in America going, I'm with her. So you're with the satanic woman. She's Satan in a pantsuit. Sort of reminds me of Hillary Clinton. Satan in a pantsuit. And there are a bunch of evil men like Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Biden, Joe Biden, and, you have some evil people like the Bushes. But this is on a whole other level. And what it is about people who have a communist-like history is because they tend to have like distorted family ancestry. You can't point out where they came from, where they grew up. Their names changed. It's not like a normal family history or ancestry, meaning you can't really point it out. Like it's all over the place. We can usually point out where we grew up, who our parents and grandparents are or were. We can point that out. But with them, it's like the names changed. They've got relation to people who were part of the CIA and things like that. So, or communist linkage or, just a lot of different things, just weird and just out of the norm. They're just very much out of the norm. Leave the full video in the link in the description so that you can actually view the entire video. But this is, oh my gosh. And I just want to show you guys that this is Kamala Black Face is all over social media right now. This is Janet Jackson. Who was, she got in trouble and received backlash. This is the Miss Beryl that Kamala posted or put in her book. And this is the one where the woman is saying, no, that's not Miss Beryl. She was fair-skinned with black hair. This woman is clearly not fair-skinned. And look at the distance. There's no love, no grandmother and grandchild love and body language. Kamala's head is facing one way and the woman, there's no one holding each other. This clearly is not it. This is all over the place. It says, not a good day for the Kamala Harris campaign when you get on X and see that Kamala Black Face is trending. Evidently, when you claim that some random family member is your paternal grandmother in order to claim back Black heritage, is frowned upon by decent human beings. She's not a decent human being. And look at this, guys. Whoa, not a good day for you, madam. Not a good day. It says offering Black men weed, loans for a vote, offering Black women abortions, twerks, and fake sisterhood representation for a vote. Basically, put Black men back to sleep and keep Black women from nurturing and raising up our children with morals again. Okay. All right. We've got the Aunt Jemima on the pancake box space. She lied about her photo in her book. She's a demon-crat preying on the Black community. Once again, fake grandma and fake accent. She's all about using the Black race. You know, demon-crats that's what they do to get what they want. This is just what they do. And it's all a lie. It's just all a lie. She's using fake Black accents. This is all over the place. This is all over the place. Guys, this woman, Kamala Harris, is a fake, phony, soulless human being who will do anything for power. She will do absolutely anything. Nothing is too low for her to go. How low can you go? Borrow a Black person's body and says it's your grandma. Ugh, disgusting. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. You guys be blessed. Love God, your families, these United States of America. And as I always say, march on, warriors.